Hey, good morning, seniors. Happy Monday. Hope you're having a good day already and hope that you had a great weekend. Last week, obviously, we started working on and finished a draft of our resumes. First of all, you all did an amazing job meeting with me, and I think that, and I hope that you all have seen some improvement in your resumes already, even if you had a draft done at the beginning of the week. But hopefully, you feel a little bit more comfortable with that. And as always, and I'm talking about always, even after you graduate, if you still need help revising a resume or if you still want my opinion on it, then please let me know. I'm happy to help. That's not just a thing I will provide over, your school year. So if you need help this summer looking for a job or writing a cover letter or a resume or anything else, then please let me know. I'd be happy to help. So today this is going to be kind of in two parts. So hopefully it won't be too hard to find what you're looking for. But essentially this week you're going to work on one of two things. You have a choice this week. So one, you're going to work on what's called a cover letter, which is sort of a document that goes along with a resume, and it gets tailored to every specific job. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. There's just no way around it. The resume, typically you can make some minor changes to. The cover letter, you tend to have to rewrite almost the whole thing, if not the whole thing, every time. So it is a pain in the butt, but I will show you how to do a version of that. All right, so that's choice one. Choice two is to write a scholarship letter for a scholarship application. That's kind of similar. It really just depends on the prompt and what they're looking for and what kind of program you want to get into. But those tend to have to be written over and over again. And again, there's just not an easy way around it. Sometimes you can kind of Frankenstein one together off of writing that you've done. I'll show you some examples of mine that have been successful in the past. But yeah, one way or another, there's just no getting around it. You're going to have to adapt both of those things, either the cover letter or the scholarship letter, to its audience, to its prompt. And we'll talk about that a little bit today. So if you are interested in doing the cover letter, which means that you're, you think that might be more beneficial to you as far as going to look for a job after graduation, or something like that, then stick around. I'm going to cover that right now. If you are interested in doing the scholarship letter for your choice this week, then move forward. I'm going to try to give you 30 seconds of a white screen just so you can kind of see it in the video real quick. It'll be nice and awkward for me, but you get the idea, just so you can kind of figure out where it is. Putting the timestamp on it is also a pain in the butt. So just skip forward a little bit and try to find that. Okay, so first, let's talk about the cover letter. So this is a website I found from a website called Youth Central. It's got some really good tips for how to write a cover letter. I will post that in the agenda. But it tells you what it is, why you need one, matching, and some tips like who to address it to, make sure you know about the job, find out about the company. You don't want to write these kind of generically. They need to be very adapted to your needs. And so read over this, first of all, for today, and make sure you understand kind of the purpose of a cover letter. Not every job will need one, and that's one real quick point I want to make. Not every job will ask for one, but if it gives you the opportunity to write one, you should write one. Again, it shows something about your credibility to say, I am interested enough in this job, and I will be detail-oriented enough in this job to say that I'm going to put the extra time and effort into making sure that I look as presentable as possible. That's what sending a cover letter says, especially if it's optional, right? Because if it's optional, most people just aren't going to do it. They're not going to put up with the annoyance of it, right? So if it's optional, yeah, I'm going to write one. I'm going to show them that I'm better than other people, and that's the hardcore truth about it. Okay, so I always encourage writing a cover letter if it gives you the opportunity. Let's take a look at a couple examples. So here is a cover letter. I'll show you the one that. Let's see. Let me bring this up. Okay, this is the one that pairs up with that census resume. One of the other jobs I was applying for at the same time as I was applying at Holy Cross. I don't know why I didn't get it. I felt like I was qualified for it. It was something I was interested in. Who knows? Maybe they already had somebody in mind. Maybe they didn't feel I was as qualified as I thought I was. One way or another, I had to tailor that resume and this cover letter in far more ways than I typically would for another teaching position at a high school other than Holy Cross. So just to show you kind of a extreme example of tailoring it, okay? Take a minute, and I'll have this in as an example in OneNote as well. but take a minute when you get a chance and read over this. This talks, and you'll see that it's a lot less about teaching than my other cover letter that I'm going to show you. This has a lot more to do with like leadership qualities, my leadership experience. It has a lot more to do with training adults, which is what I would have done at the Census Bureau, which has a slightly different technique to it than training students, high school students. It talks a little bit heavier about my time in the Army. It talks a little bit more about my understanding of the census based on some research work that I did with it. And so all of this is very much tailored to that position, okay? The other version, not the other version, but like another version is the one I used for Holy Cross, okay? And, you know, me being a new teacher, this gives us a little bit of a insight into the process of that and what that sort of looks like. You'll see that there is a little bit of language that I was able to kind of take and trade from the other one, but by and large, these are pretty much different. You know, they've got a few similarities, but they're pretty darn different. I'd say 90% of them is different. So this, of course, talks a lot more about my teaching history, my teaching credentials, things that I'm proud of in my teaching jobs, all those sorts of things. And basically, it's like it's a way to talk about all the things that you want to say in your resume, but you can't because the resume should be a pretty short document, you know, usually about 1 page. So this cover letter on either side of this gives you the opportunity to really dive into what it is that is special and unique about you, and at the same time to show your personality a little bit. This should be kind of business casual, meaning that it should have a little bit of a formal tone to it, but it should also seem like you're a friendly, approachable person. And at the same time, feel like you are a person who can get stuff done, okay? So you have to balance all of those different tones. It's always good to kind of take a storytelling approach. This is the reason that I wanted to get into teaching, or this is the reason I'm interested in the census, or whatever your interest might be, right? You want to take those tones, and that may feel silly, right? Because you're an entry-level student. Maybe you don't have a ton of expertise in the field that you want to work in, but you can still talk about that and try to make sure that they understand that you're a real and likable person that is worthy to come in and talk to them for an interview. That's the goal of the cover letter, right? The cover letter itself is not going to get you the job. The cover letter's purpose is to get you in a place where you can go and talk to them individually. And so that way, you have more of a chance of walking into that door. Okay, so take a look at these. Also take a look at this tip sheet on this website, which again I'll put into the OneNote agenda, and that would be a way to do that. What I want you to do here, after you've read over those, is go to some place like monster.com or jobsearch.com. Jobsearch.com, I'm sorry, that's what it said at the top. Indeed.com, it says job search at the very top. And go to one of those job search websites, type in whatever it is. Even if all you want to have is entry level, then you're going to be able to see some options, right? And even though I know that you might not be applying actually to one of these jobs, this is going to be the way that you're going to practice this skill, okay? So you're going to pick one. Say that you're interested in plumbing, air, and electric. That's part of your thing. So you're going to click on that. What you're going to do, I'm going to scroll this up just a little bit so we can see the URL. Whoops. What you're going to do is you're going to copy and paste this and put that into OneNote for me in your ungraded work, and that way it'll tell me what you're going to be basing this draft on, okay? The reason I want you to do that is because I want you to have a little bit of guidance, and what I mean by that is when you look down here and you see what the jobs are that they're offering, so you're interested in this entry-level call center representative, or you're interested in an entry-level plumbing thing, then when you do that, you'll be able to come over here and read through the job description, and you'll be able to tailor that cover letter to this job. Say, my name is Tim Phelps. I'm interested in this field. I've been doing the internship at this company that does similar work. And these are the reasons that I want to be involved in your company now. Okay, so lots of ways to kind of finagle that, so that it is again showing off your personality with that cover letter. Okay, okay. So at this point, and that's your job today. So find a job that you are interested in or that you think is in your field, and find that website and post it into OneNote, if I can get my words out. Okay, so let me pause here. I'm going to open up a big white page, and we're just going to wait for like 30 seconds while I take a drink. Okay, so if you are interested in doing the scholarship letter this week, you will be doing something similar in that I want to show you a couple different scholarships that I have applied for. Here's one. And show you kind of the reasoning behind what I do, and then show you how to build one that you can sometimes, manipulate a little bit to turn into another one, or find a prompt that's similar. That's not always the case, right? Some of these prompts are going to be kind of weird. Some of them are going to make you not make you, but they're going to suggest that you make a video or something like that. So, those are really hard to kind of coach through, especially with just a few minutes here. This one here was a 3,000 word limit, and this is a scholarship I applied for in 2013 to go to Germany. And I won it. This was a nationally competitive scholarship, and I won it with this essay. So take a look at this. This is it was called a statement of purpose essay I had to write for the scholarship called the Gilman. They wanted me to talk about why I was interested in studying abroad. That's a pretty generic prompt, so you could maybe take a whole lot of this one and apply it to another prompt that was similar. But you'll see that I actually start by arguing that I shouldn't go. Right, I had a family at home. It didn't make sense. It wasn't worth the money. It was going to be a big financial and emotional detriment. It was going to be tough. So the reason I did that is because I wanted to catch their eye. That was the whole thing. I needed them to see my essay as something that was not everything else they were reading. That's tough. I don't always have an obvious way around telling people how to come up with that angle. That just takes a little bit of grinding and figuring out what's a interesting way of opening this that's not too incredibly risky. So this was a much bigger one, but I did have some success with that. So take a look and read that. I was able to take that same thing and really reduce it. This was, I think, a 500 word essay. So, some of them are 250 words, whatever. They're all over the place. So I did a whole lot of revision to work it down to this, and it was asking for a few different things, but basically I was trying to answer why I deserve this this scholarship. The other one, the big one, was I think a $5,000 scholarship. This one was like a $250 scholarship, $250. So it was vast differences, but still a bunch of those add up to buy a lot of books or whatever else you need. And so you'll see a lot of similarities like this, but this one was more in line with an English department thing, which of course was my thing. So take a look at these and you'll see the differences and similarities. What I would like you to do is to go to this scholarship finder. I'll have this in the agenda. Find a scholarship. These are all sorts of different things. They tell you who can apply for them, what size they are. Some of them are a voice for cats, right? Some of them are talking about orthopedics. So it really depends very much. You're going to have to do some scanning and find one that sort of fits you. You might also consider finding one that fits into May. Now, I'm going to have you write this scholarship letter for this essay or for this prompt, but you don't have any responsibility for actually following through with it. This is just practice for this. But certainly if you're planning on going to school, then this might be a way to do that. So you can sort by this, and you can see there are hundreds, literally, of pages, all sorts of deadlines and all sorts of requirements. So find one that fits for you. What you're trying to do with that scholarship essay is you're trying to sell yourself, of course, but you're also trying to show a little bit of personality with a whole lot of drive. You're someone who is not going to let the scholarship down, and that tone gets a little tricky. So your goal today, again, find one of those essays, read through mine, find one of those prompts, and then put that into OneNote, copy and paste whichever one you find, and this week we'll start working on those. Okay, sorry I'm cutting short. We're running out